Hello, so my name is Matthew, and I'm from Gurnee, Illinois. I don't know.
Gurnee.
Yeah.
Six Flags.
Yes. So I am
go to
a
Warren,
senior.
or-
Yes, I'm
yeah.
a senior at Warren, and I recently started a Turning Point chapter
Cool.
there. And I would love to have you speak, by the way, so if you could come. But I really love politics. I'm like really interested. Like a dream of mine would be to be doing what you do or to run for office or something. So I just like, this is what fuels me up and stuff. And I was just wondering, what is the biggest piece of advice that you've gotten or that's like really helped you, because you're obviously a self-made man. You're only, what, 24, and you've created 25.
Getting too old for this stuff now.
Yeah. But I was just wondering what the biggest piece of advice you've received and that you'd give to me that helped you get from like ground zero and just being some like high schooler to having this.
So a couple pieces of advice. Seek mentorship and help from people such as Gary, Mike, and Bill, because you'd be amazed when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, people will open up doors that they would not open up for a 30 or 31 or 32-year-old. So be very effusive in seeking out mentorship and opportunity. Number two, every single day look back on yesterday and say, did I work harder today than I worked yesterday? No matter what you're doing, the one thing you can control is how hard you work at something. You could be horrible at it. You could have no idea what you're doing, but if you're working really, really hard, there's no substitute for that. In politics in particular, never stop reading, listening, or watching. You have to become a perpetual consumption of information. Watching endless hours of YouTube videos, reading limitless amounts of books, listening to podcasts. When you think that you've heard it all, you haven't. Just on my way here, I got stuck in typical Chicago traffic. I was listening to Jordan Peterson, and I was listening to Dennis Prager, and stuff that I've listened to before, but things I haven't. And I was even listening to Sam Harris and Christopher Hitchens, and pushing my own opinions and pushing my own perspectives. It's people that stop reading and stop writing. That's the second thing. Is writing is a great practice to see what you actually believe. And you're going to become a better writer when you become a better reader. The more you read, the better you'll become at writing. The final thing I'll say is this, is in politics in particular, don't be afraid to do the jobs that people might say is beneath you. Since I was 15 or 16 years old, I was knocking on doors and making phone calls. Just in the last couple years that I stopped actually knocking on doors, I actually stopped knocking on doors and making phone calls. I just literally ran out of time. Part of it, I always loved being in direct contact with voters. It's the grassroots level of politics. I must have knocked on 100,000 doors and made over 1 million phone calls. I've worked my way up through grassroots politics. There's no substitute for that. And my one complaint I have is there's a lot of students in politics today that think they're above that sort of work. You're not. You're not. I did that for 10 years. And still I don't think I'm above it. I still want to do it. I just literally, am pushed for time to do the phone banking on Saturday morning at 10 a.m., to knock on the doors, to have the call sheets, to know how to map a precinct, and have to knock on door after door and have the door shoved in your face and put those goofy, weird mailers that barely fit. You know what I'm talking about, those of you in politics? If you don't, you haven't knocked on enough doors. Bobby ran for office. He knows exactly what I mean. You got to knock on doors till your knuckles bleed. And I want to make sure our movement continues to be one that is rooted in the grassroots. And it's hard. It's hard when you knock on 100 doors, only 10 of them are answered, they're all 5 miles away, and no one wants to talk to you. That's tough. But that's what builds a healthy party, and more important, a healthy activist. That's where I got my hunger and where I got my start. And so that's my biggest piece of feedback to you. So thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.